And this week on the Daily Dose, we're going to talk about other biblical characters who had giant faith. We're in this series called Giant Faith, and we're working through the life of Abraham. But as I was kind of planning this out and talking to some of the other pastors, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's look at some of the other stories, other biblical characters that have giant faith. Why? Because we want you to have giant faith. So on this Monday, I want to look at the story of Ruth. Ruth is an Old Testament book, and here's what takes place. Naomi is her mother-in-law, and Naomi, in a very short time span, loses her husband as well as her two sons. Therefore, no one is going to provide for her. Therefore, there's going to be a lot of hardship and pain. So two of her daughter-in-laws, one of which Naomi begs and says, hey, go back and be with your people, because two of her daughter-in-laws are both Moabites, okay? And so meaning they're not Israelites, they're not the people of God. And yet Ruth says, listen, Naomi, where you go, I will go, and your people will be my people. Now understand that verse in chapter 1 of Ruth, you should read that verse, that chapter, that's a giant faith statement. She's leaving everything she knows, her people, her land, to follow her mother-in-law, who is an aging widow and has nothing to offer her. Why? Well, you know what? The Bible doesn't tell us. The Bible does not clue us into why Ruth made that decision, except we know that her decision to follow provided some amazing blessings in her life. And you know, for us, oftentimes, we don't know what sparks this curiosity and this God size, this giant faith to follow God. But here's what we do know. Every time we follow, God is faithful. So today, on this brand new week, I want you to ask this question. God, where are you calling me to follow you today, this week? Answer that question, and we'll come back and look at our next story tomorrow on the Daily Dose.